The first two team matches went exactly as planned. The humans won both, but they did it professionally. They followed the rules. They showed skill without showing savagery. The galaxy watched and seemed to relax a little. Maybe Hana's match had been an exception. Maybe humans really were civilized after all. Then the Thulian organizers announced the final challenge. Hana stood with the other humans in the briefing room, watching the holographic display. A massive biodome was shown, easily 5 square kilometers, multiple terrain types. Advanced environmental controls. This is the Earth trial, the Thulian official explained. Its pale blue face showed something that might have been excitement. We've recreated Earth's environment using data from your own planetary surveys. Multiple teams will compete simultaneously in a survival and objective scenario. Ambassador Deho stood abruptly. You recreated Earth's environment? Yes, we thought it would be appropriate given the current interest in human capabilities. The other species have been training in simulators. They're quite eager to test themselves. Yunji and Deho exchanged looks. What's the gravity in the biodome? Yunji asked. Standard Earth gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. And the atmospheric composition? 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, standard Earth mixture. Weather systems? Fully functional, based on Earth tropical and temperate patterns. Yunji's jaw tightened. And the other species know what they're signing up for? They've been briefed. Many are quite excited. They see it as an ultimate test. After the official left, Deho turned to Yunji. This is a disaster. They don't understand, Yunji said quietly. They think Earth is just another death world. They don't understand what that actually means. Should we warn them? Nari asked. They won't listen, Minho said. They think they're prepared. Hana remembered the dust storm when she was 7. The time she'd climbed the North Ridge. The day a farming mech broke down and she'd walked home through predator territory. Just normal things. Tuesday afternoon on a colony world. We should tell them, Hana said. It's not fair otherwise. Yunji looked at her for a long moment. You're right. We should try. They did try. Yunji spoke with several team leaders. She explained that Earth's gravity would be crushing for many species. That the oxygen levels some species considered toxic. That Earth's weather patterns were violent and unpredictable. Most of them smiled politely and thanked her for the concern. Krull listened more seriously. You're genuinely worried. I am, Yunji said. Your people are strong, Krull. But Sarkoth Prime is a Class 4 world. Earth is Class 12, that's not a small difference. We'll manage, Krull said. But there was doubt in his eyes now. Jan was the only one who seemed to truly understand. My grandfather told me about Earth. He said it was beautiful and terrible. He said even the plants could kill you. He wasn't wrong, Yunji replied. The day of the Earth trial arrived. 15 teams gathered at the biodome entrance. Over 60 competitors from dozens of species. Sarkoth warriors, Kelran tacticians, Morgathi energy specialists, Vexian intelligence operatives. Others Hana had never seen before. The humans wore standard expedition gear. Nothing special, nothing enhanced. The other teams had much more equipment. Environmental suits, gravity compensators, advanced sensors. The Thulian official explained the rules. Teams would enter the biodome at different locations. There were 3 objectives scattered across the environment. Teams earned points for reaching objectives and for survival time. The trial would last 6 hours. Medical teams were on standby. Emergency extraction available at any time. Any questions? The official asked. No one had questions. Then let the Earth trial begin. The humans entered through an access tunnel that led to a temperate forest zone. The moment they stepped into the biodome, Hana felt something shift. The air tasted right. The gravity felt right. Even the smell was familiar, like the forests near her colony. Welcome home, Minho said quietly. They moved through the forest easily. Yunji took point, reading the terrain naturally. Nari watched their flanks. Taeyang checked their equipment. Hana found herself falling into a rhythm she didn't know she had. An hour passed. They reached the first objective, a beacon in a small clearing. No sign of other teams. Too easy, Nari said. They're struggling, Yunji replied, checking her communicator. Multiple teams have already requested extraction. Already? Taeyang looked surprised. The gravity, Minho explained. Species from low-gravity worlds are probably moving at half speed, getting exhausted fast. They continued to the second objective, crossing through a section of jungle. The humidity was intense. The vegetation was thick. For Hana, it was just like the growing season back home. She barely noticed. They found the second beacon near a river, and they found Hyun's team. 3 Vexians were sitting on the ground looking miserable. Their equipment was scattered around them. Hyun? Hana called out. He looked up. His amphibian skin was dry and cracked. The humidity is too much. We can't regulate our temperature properly. We called for extraction, but they said it would be another hour. Yoonji knelt beside him. The river is right there. Get in the water. But the current is gentle here, Yoonji said. Look, we'll help you. The humans helped the Vexians into the river. Within minutes, Hyun's team looked better. They registered their objective and decided to wait there for extraction. Thank you, Hyun said. I understand now what my grandfather meant. This isn't just difficult, it's designed to kill. Earth doesn't care if you survive, Yoonji said. That's the difference. Other worlds might be dangerous, but Earth is actively hostile. Every day is a test. They left Hyun's team and continued to the third objective. That's when the storm hit. It started as dark clouds rolling in fast. Then wind, then rain that fell so hard it felt like being hit with rocks. The humans barely reacted. They'd all been through storms before. Yoonji led them to a rocky outcrop that provided some shelter. They waited, watching the lightning strike across the biodome. Through the rain, they could see other teams panicking. Flashes of emergency beacons as teams called for extraction. The sound of the alarm system warning about dangerous conditions. This is normal Earth weather, Taeyang said, almost to himself. This is just a thunderstorm, Minho laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. Yeah, this is Tuesday afternoon on Earth. When the storm passed, they emerged and continued to the third objective. The biodome was quieter now. Most teams had been extracted. The few remaining were moving slowly, carefully, staying in safe areas. The humans walked through mud and debris like it was nothing. They reached the third objective as the sun was setting. Real Earth sunset, orange and red across the sky. Standing at the beacon was a camera drone broadcasting live to the galaxy. Yoonji looked at it for a long moment. Then she spoke, knowing billions were watching. You wanted to see what makes us Deathworlders. This is it. This isn't a trial to us. This is home. Every human child grows up in conditions that challenge the best warriors of other species. We swim in oceans full of predators. We climb mountains where the air is thin. We live through storms that tear apart buildings. We do all of this before we're old enough to join the military. She gestured to the biodome around them. This place you created to test us? It's easier than Earth. You filtered out the really dangerous parts. The diseases, the parasites, the predators that hunt in packs, the plants that poison you if you touch them, the insects that carry death in their bite. We're not special, Yoonji continued. We're not super warriors or genetic experiments. We're just the product of our world. Earth made us this way. Every human you've ever met, everyone you've ever worked with, every diplomat and scientist and artist, all of them carry this inside them. The ability to survive what would kill most other species. She paused. We don't tell you this to threaten you. We tell you so you understand. When humans agreed to be civilized, to follow your rules, to be peaceful members of the galactic community, we weren't surrendering. We were choosing. And we choose peace every single day. But choice isn't weakness. Restraint isn't inability. The camera drone continued recording. Back in the biodome control room, Thulian officials were running damage assessments. 48 competitors had been extracted. Only 12 remained in the biodome, and 5 of them were human. The trial was supposed to last 6 hours. They stopped it at 4. The humans had completed all 3 objectives while helping other teams survive. They'd done it in conditions that had defeated trained warriors from dozens of species, and they'd made it look easy, because for them, it was. When they exited the biodome, there were no cheers. No celebration. The other teams looked at them with a mixture of respect and fear. Krull approached Yoonji. His scales were scratched and muddy. His team had lasted 3 hours before extracting. I understand now, he said. Why your people agreed to peace 80 years ago. Why? Yoonji asked. Because you didn't need to fight. You'd already won. Just by surviving your homeworld, you became stronger than most of us could ever be. Fighting us would have been pointless, like a human fighting insects. We don't think of you as insects, Yoonji said firmly. I know, that's what makes you dangerous. Krull bowed deeply. Not your strength. Your mercy. The news traveled faster than light across the communication networks. A 19-year-old farm girl from a colony world had defeated a professional warrior in 15 minutes, using techniques that looked more like hunting than fighting. The footage had been analyzed frame by frame. Experts from a dozen species gave their opinions. Some called it brilliant. Some called it brutal. All of them called it human. Hana watched the coverage in her quarters. She'd stopped reading the comments after the first 100. Some people loved what she'd done. Others hated it. Nobody seemed to understand that she hadn't planned any of it. Her communicator chimed. An official message from Earth's military command. 4 human soldiers were being sent to Arena Station. They would arrive within 3 days. Hana felt relief mixed with dread. Relief because she wouldn't be alone anymore. Dread because real soldiers were coming, and they would see her as the civilian who'd made a mess of everything. The 3 days passed slowly. The exhibition organizers decided not to disqualify Hana, but they also didn't schedule any more matches for her. She was in limbo, neither competitor nor guest. She spent the time with Krull and Hyun. The 3 of them formed an unlikely friendship. Krull taught her about Sarkoth combat philosophy. Hyun shared tactical theory from a dozen different species. Hana talked about Earth, about colony life, about growing up on a world where danger was normal. "We had these storms called dust devils," she said one evening. "They could strip the paint off a building. When I was 7, I got caught in one on the way home from school. I dug a hole and buried myself until it passed." "You were 7? Hyun looked shocked. "Yeah, my parents were mad I didn't tell anyone where I was going." Hana shrugged. "It was just weather." "That would kill most species," Krull said quietly. "Really? It's not that bad. Just dirt moving fast." The way they looked at her made Hana uncomfortable. She changed the subject. On the 3rd day, the human transport arrived. Hana stood in the docking bay with Ambassador Deho. The transport was military, clean lines, and functional design. No decoration. The hatch opened and 4 humans emerged. The first was a man in his mid-20s, compact and muscular. His uniform identified him as Corporal Minho Choi, Special Forces. His eyes scanned the docking bay automatically, cataloging threats and exits. The second was a woman in her early 30s, Lieutenant Nari Seo. She moved like water, smooth and efficient. "Naval Marines," her uniform said. Her expression gave away nothing. The third was younger, maybe 22, Private Taeyang Lim, combat engineer. He carried equipment cases and looked excited despite his obvious attempt to stay professional. The fourth was a woman in her late 30s. Captain Eunji Han, senior officer. She had scars on her hands and a presence that made people instinctively stand straighter. They approached Ambassador Deho first, saluting properly. Then Captain Eunji turned to Hana. "Miss Kim, I've seen the footage of your match." Hana didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry, Captain. I didn't mean to cause problems." Something that might have been a smile crossed Eunji's face. "You didn't cause problems. You just reminded people what humans are." She looked at the others. "We need somewhere private to talk." They found a conference room. Once inside, Eunji pulled up the footage of Hana's fight on the display screen. "Okay, let's break this down," Eunji said. "Minho, what do you see?" Corporal Minho watched the footage carefully. "She goes defensive for the first 10 minutes, learning his patterns. Then something switches and she goes full aggressive, targeting joints and weak points. No wasted movement. That's not sport fighting." "Nari?" Lieutenant Nari nodded. "She enters survival mode. Look at her eyes at the 10-minute mark. The focus changes. She stops seeing an opponent and starts seeing a threat that needs to be eliminated." Taeyang. Private Taeyang looked uncomfortable. "She fights like my cousins on Jeju. They grow up with the sea storms. When they get in bar fights, it's scary because they don't know how to pull punches. They fight like everything is life or death." Eunji paused the footage at the moment Hana's blade touched Krull's throat. "Miss Kim, what were you thinking right here?" Hana looked at the frozen image. "I wasn't thinking. I just knew he had to stop being a threat." "Exactly." Eunji turned to face her. "You're not trained. You're not a soldier. But you're from a colony world and you're human. That means your instincts are stronger than your training. When your brain decided you were in danger, it did what human brains do. It made you into a predator." "I didn't want to hurt him." "I know, but you did. and now the galaxy is remembering things they'd forgotten. Yunji pulled up news footage showing the coverage of Hana's match. They forgot that humans chose to be civilized. They thought we were civilized because we couldn't be anything else. What happens now? Hana asked. Now we show them what trained humans can do, Minho said, and we try to do it without scaring everyone too badly. The organizers want team matches, Ambassador Deho said from the doorway. Nobody had noticed him enter. They've changed the exhibition format. They want to see humans work together. Of course they do, Nari said dryly. Nothing like turning a cultural event into a threat assessment. Can we refuse? Hana asked. We could, Yunji said, but then we look weak or scared. Neither of those helps humanity's position in the galaxy. So we fight, Minho said. We fight, Yunji agreed, but we do it smart. We show skill and professionalism. We follow the rules. We win, but we win in a way that looks controlled. She looked at Hana. And you, Miss Kim, are going to learn how to fight like a soldier instead of like a cornered animal. The training started that evening. Yunji took Hana to the station's gym. It was late and the space was empty except for them. Show me what your sister taught you, Yunji said. Hana went through the basic self-defense moves. Jiwan had drilled into her. Blocks, strikes, how to break a hold. Yunji watched silently. When Hana finished, the captain nodded. Good fundamentals. Now forget all of that. What? In a real fight, you won't remember those moves. Your brain will take over and you'll do what it thinks you need to do to survive. So we're not going to train you to fight. We're going to train you to think. For the next 2 hours, Yunji taught Hana how to recognize when her survival instincts were kicking in, how to breathe through them, how to make conscious choices instead of just reacting. You can't stop your instincts, Yunji explained. They're too strong, too old. But you can work with them. You can decide when to let them out and when to keep them leashed. How do you learn that? Practice, time, experience, Yunji paused, and understanding what you are. What am I? You're human. You're from Earth. That means you're carrying millions of years of evolution designed to survive a world that tried to kill everything on it. Every human has that. We all have the predator inside us. The difference between civilians and soldiers is that soldiers learn how to aim it. They sat down on the gym floor, both breathing hard. Do you regret joining the military? Hana asked. Yunji considered the question. No, I regret the things I've had to do. I regret the people I've lost. But I don't regret learning how to control what I am. Because being civilized isn't about pretending we're not dangerous. It's about choosing not to be. That's what Hyun said. About civilization being a choice. Your Vexian friend is smart. Yunji smiled. His grandfather was right to warn him about us. Not because we're evil, but because we're effective. When humans decide something needs to be done, it gets done. That's useful in war. It's terrifying in peace. So how do we show the galaxy we're not terrifying? We don't, Yunji said simply. We show them we're controlled. There's a difference. Terrifying can't be trusted. Controlled can be respected. The next morning, the team received their match assignments. 5 humans against mixed teams from various species. Urban combat scenario, zero gravity scenario, hostile environment scenario. The difficulty was increasing. They're testing us, Nari said as they reviewed the assignments. Let them test, Minho replied. We'll pass. Private Taiyang looked nervous. What if we lose? We won't, Yunji said. But if we do, we lose with dignity. Remember, this isn't about winning. It's about showing the galaxy that humans can follow rules and work with others. She looked at each of them. We're not here to dominate. We're here to participate. Can everyone do that? They all nodded. Good. Let's show them what humans can do when we're trying to be civilized. But the galaxy had other plans. Hana sat in her quarters with her head in her hands. The door was locked. Outside, she could hear voices in the corridor. Some of them sounded angry. 4 hours had passed since the match. 4 hours since she'd put Krull on the ground and held a blade to his throat. 4 hours since the galaxy had watched her stop being cute and become something else. Her communicator had 47 messages. She hadn't opened any of them. There was a knock at the door. Miss Kim, this is Ambassador Deho. Open the door. Hana didn't move. Hana, I know you can hear me. We need to talk. She got up slowly and opened the door. Ambassador Deho stood in the corridor. His face was red and his jaw was tight. Behind him were 2 security officers, though Hana wasn't sure if they were there to protect her or arrest her. What were you thinking? Deho said. His voice was quiet but sharp. I don't know. I'm sorry. You're sorry? Deho stepped into the room. The door closed behind him. Do you have any idea what you've done? This was supposed to be a cultural exchange. A friendly exhibition? You turned it into a blood sport. I didn't mean to. Something happened. Something happened, Deho repeated. Yes, something happened. You reminded the entire galaxy why they're afraid of us. Do you know what they're saying out there? They're calling you a savage. They're calling humans unpredictable, dangerous. Hana felt tears burning in her eyes. Is Krull okay? He's fine. Bruised ribs, strained ligaments, injured pride. The medical team fixed him up. Deho rubbed his face. He's actually handling it better than most. He requested to meet with you. He did? Yes, he seems to think you're some kind of elite warrior who was pretending to be weak. I told him you're a mechanic, but I don't think he believes me. Hana sat down on the bed. I didn't pretend. I was trying to fight the way everyone else did. With honor and rules. But then I was on my knee and he was standing over me and something in my head just switched. Deho was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. My grandfather was in the contact war. He told me stories. He said humans have two settings, civilized and survival. Most of the time we're civilized. We follow rules. We're polite. But when our brain thinks we're in danger, we flip the switch. I didn't know I could do that. Most civilians don't. It's usually trained out of us. But you're from a colony world. New Busan isn't exactly safe, is it? Hana thought about the dust storms, the equipment failures, the time a farming mech broke down in the middle of the predator zone, and she'd had to walk 15 kilometers back to safety. Her parents never made a big deal about it. Colony life was just like that. I guess not, she said. The exhibition organizers want to disqualify you, Deho said, for excessive force. But the viewership numbers are the highest in the event's history. Trillions of beings watched your match. The organizers are torn between being horrified and being thrilled. What's going to happen to me? I don't know yet. But Hana, if you fight again, you need to control yourself. You need to remember that these matches aren't real combat. They're performances. Can you do that? Hana wanted to say yes. She wanted to promise she could be civilized and controlled. But she remembered the feeling when the switch flipped. The clarity, the focus, the absolute certainty of what her body needed to do. I don't know, she said honestly. Deho left shortly after. Hana was alone again. She opened her communicator. Most of the messages were from people she didn't know. Some were congratulations. Some were threats. Many were invitations for interviews. There was one from Jiwon. Holy shit, little sister. That was incredible and terrifying. Call me when you can. There was one from Krull. You fight with the spirit of a true warrior. I would be honored to speak with you. No hard feelings. You won fairly. And there was one from someone named Hyon. The profile showed a Vexian, an amphibian species with smooth green skin and large eyes. The message was simple. My grandfather fought in the border conflicts. He warned me about humans. I didn't believe him until today. We should talk. Hana responded to Krull first. They arranged to meet in one of the station's common areas. The common area was a large space designed for multiple species. There were sections with different atmospheres, different gravity levels, different seating arrangements. Hana found Krull in a standard oxygen zone, sitting at a table designed for beings his size. His scales showed bruising, darker patches across his arms and torso. He moved carefully, like everything hurt. Hana felt terrible. I'm so sorry, she said as she approached. Krull looked up. His reptilian face was hard to read, but his eyes were sharp and intelligent.
Why are you sorry?
You won. I hurt you. Yes, that's what happens in combat. Krull gestured to the seat across from him. Please sit, Hana sat. The chair was too big for her, making her feel even smaller. You're really just a mechanic? Krull asked. Yes. No military training? No combat school? My sister is in the militia. She taught me some basic self-defense, but nothing formal. Krull was quiet for a long moment. I've fought in 12 exhibitions. I've trained my entire life, and you defeated me in 15 minutes using techniques I've never seen. I don't remember most of it, Hana admitted. It was like something took over. Your instincts. Maybe. Do you know why Sarkoth warriors are respected across the galaxy? Krull asked. Hana shook her head. Because we have honor. We fight with rules and dignity. We believe combat should elevate both warriors. Krull leaned forward slightly. You don't fight like that. You fight like combat is about survival, not honor. I didn't mean to. I'm not criticizing you, Krull interrupted. I'm trying to understand. Humans are Deathworlders. Everyone knows this. But most of us thought it was just classification. A technical term. We didn't understand what it meant. What does it mean? It means you come from a world that tried to kill you. Every day. For millions of years. And you survived by becoming something that couldn't be killed. Krull touched his bruised ribs. I was a fool to think size and strength mattered. You weren't fighting me, a person. You were fighting me, a threat. And when humans identify a threat, they eliminate it. Another voice joined the conversation. That's actually pretty accurate. Hana turned. Hyun stood nearby, the Vexian who had sent her the message. He was shorter than Krull but taller than Hana, with smooth amphibian skin and eyes that seemed to see everything. Mind if I join you? Hyun asked. Krull gestured to another seat. Hyun sat down carefully. His movements were precise, controlled. My grandfather was a tactical officer during the border conflicts 80 years ago. Humans had just made contact with the galaxy. Some species saw Earth's resources and thought humans would be easy to conquer. What happened? Hana asked. Humans didn't fight like anyone expected. No formations. No honor codes. They used everything. The environment, deception, terror tactics. My grandfather said it wasn't war. It was extermination. Humans fought like every battle was their last. The galaxy sued for peace, Krull added. Not because they couldn't win, but because the cost was too high. Humans were offered membership in the galactic community, with the understanding that they would follow civilized rules of engagement. And we did, Hana said. We followed the rules. You did, Hyun agreed. For 80 years, humans have been peaceful, diplomatic, civilized, so the galaxy forgot. They forgot why humans agreed to peace in the first place. Because we chose to, Hana said quietly. Exactly. Hyun smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. And today you reminded everyone. You showed them that civilization is a choice humans make every day, and that choice can be unmade. The three of them sat in silence for a moment. So what happens now? Hana asked. Krull and Hyun exchanged looks. Now, Hyun said, the galaxy remembers. The arena was larger than anything Hana had imagined. It could hold 50,000 spectators and every seat was filled. Beings from across the galaxy had come to watch. The noise was overwhelming, a mixture of cheers and clicks and sounds Hana had no name for. She stood in the preparation chamber wearing the light armor they'd given her. It was standard exhibition gear, designed to protect without restricting movement. The weapon beside her was a training blade, edges dulled enough to bruise but not kill. Through the chamber's viewport, she could see the arena floor. 2 other matches had already finished. She'd watched them on the display screen. The first match featured a young Kelran warrior. The Kelrans were insectoid with 4 arms and compound eyes. The warrior had moved with incredible speed, demonstrating hive mind tactical coordination with invisible partners. The crowd had loved it. The match had lasted exactly 10 minutes, ending with both fighters saluting each other. The second match showed a Morgothi fighter. The Morgothi were crystalline beings, their bodies made of living mineral that could channel energy. The warrior had created patterns of light and force, moving through forms that were more art than combat. Beautiful, harmless. The crowd had applauded like they were at a ballet. This was what exhibition fighting was. Performance, honor, safety. Hana took a deep breath. She could do this. The door opened. A Thulian official entered. The Thulians were tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large eyes. This one wore ceremonial robes and carried a data tablet. Hana Kim, the official said in perfect Korean. You're next. Do you understand the rules? Yes, standard exhibition format. The match ends when one fighter yields, when the safety system detects critical injury, or after 20 minutes. Medical teams are standing by. Do you have any questions? No. The official studied her for a moment. Its large eyes blinked slowly. You're very small for a human. Hana didn't know how to respond to that. The audience is curious about you, the official continued. Humans rarely participate in these events. When they do, they usually send soldiers. You're listed as a civilian. A mechanic, that's right. Interesting. The official's expression was hard to read. Your opponent is Krull of Sarkoth Prime. He's asked me to tell you that he will fight with honor and ensure you're not seriously hurt. He seems concerned about the size difference. Something flickered in Hana's chest. It wasn't anger exactly. It was something else. Something that had been sleeping. That's kind of him, she said. The official left. Hana was alone again. She thought about Ambassador Deho's words. Lose gracefully. Don't cause an incident. Make it look good. She thought about G1's message. You'll survive. She thought about Krull, 7 feet tall and covered in scales, already planning how to fight her without hurting her too badly. The door opened again. This time it led to the arena tunnel. Hana walked forward. The crowd's noise hit her like a physical force. Thousands of voices, millions of voices across the broadcast networks, all of them watching her. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena in Galactic Common. Representing humanity, from the colony world of New Busan Hana Kim. The crowd cheered, but it was different from the cheers for the other fighters. This was the sound people made when something cute appeared. Like they were watching a child perform. Across the arena, Krull emerged from the opposite tunnel. He was bigger in person. The scales covering his body were dark green, almost black. His armor was minimal, showing muscled arms and a powerful tail. He carried a training blade that looked like it weighed more than Hana did. They walked to the center of the arena. Krull looked down at her. His reptilian face was hard to read, but his posture was relaxed, confident. He bowed deeply, a gesture of respect in Sarkoth culture. Hana bowed back. I will fight with honor, Krull said in Galactic Common, loud enough for the arena to hear. I will show you respect. The crowd loved it. This was the narrative they wanted. The huge warrior being gentle with the tiny human. The referee, a floating drone with multiple sensors, positioned itself above them. Fighters ready? Hana nodded. So did Krull. Begin. Krull moved first. He was fast for his size, closing the distance with long strides. His blade came down in a controlled arc designed to test Hana's defense. She moved. Her body reacted before her mind finished processing. She slipped to the side, letting the blade pass where she had been standing. Krull followed up with a horizontal sweep. Again, Hana moved, ducking under the blade. The crowd cheered. The small human was quick. Krull pressed forward, using his reach advantage. His movements were textbook perfect. Each strike was placed precisely, giving Hana room to dodge but keeping her on the defensive. This was how it was supposed to go. He would control the fight. She would try her best. Eventually, she would make a mistake or run out of energy, and he would win cleanly. Hana found her rhythm. Dodge, duck, slide away. Her body was small, which made her a smaller target. She could move in ways Krull couldn't. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Hana was breathing harder now. Krull was barely winded. He came in again, and this time his blade caught her shoulder. The impact spun her around. The crowd gasped. The safety sensors registered the hit but didn't stop the match. Hana was bruised but not injured. She stumbled, went down on one knee. Krull stepped back, giving her space to recover. It was the honorable thing to do. Hana stayed on her knee, breathing hard. She could feel the bruise forming on her shoulder. She could feel the weight of the crowd's attention. She could feel what they expected. Lose gracefully. Don't cause an incident. Be respectful. She looked up at Krull. He was standing ready but relaxed, waiting for her to stand so they could continue the performance. And something in Hana's mind shifted. It was a small thing at first. A thought that moved through her like cold water. She was on her knee in front of a predator. A bigger, stronger predator who thought she was harmless. On Earth, that's how prey died. Hana's breathing changed. Slower. Deeper. Her eyes focused differently, tracking not Krull's blade but his center of mass, his joints. The slight weight shift before he moved. She stood up. Krull noticed the change immediately. His posture shifted, becoming more defensive. Something in his instincts recognized danger. The crowd fell quieter, sensing the shift. Hana moved forward. Not retreating anymore, advancing. Krull swung his blade, but this time Hana didn't just dodge. She moved inside his reach, too close for his long blade to be effective. Her own blade snapped out, hitting the inside of his elbow joint. Krull grunted in pain and surprise. Hana was already moving, circling to his weak side, forcing him to turn. He was bigger and stronger, but she was faster, and now she was fighting like speed mattered. She hit his knee. The armor protected him, but the impact threw off his balance. The crowd wasn't cheering anymore. The noise had changed to something uncertain. Krull tried to create distance, but Hana stuck to him like a shadow. Every time he swung, she was somewhere else. Every time he tried to reset, she hit him again. She went for his joints, his neck, behind his knee, the gaps in his armor, places that hurt, that slowed him down, that made him vulnerable. This wasn't exhibition fighting. This wasn't performance. This was a human doing what humans did best, hunting something bigger than themselves. Krull's movements became desperate. He was skilled and strong, but his training was for honor combat. Hana was fighting like her life depended on it, like there were no rules, like losing meant dying. She swept his leg and he went down hard. Before he could recover, her blade was at his throat. The arena was silent. The safety sensors screamed. The match was over. Hana stepped back. The killing focus in her eyes faded. She looked confused, like she was waking up from a dream. Krull lay on the ground, breathing hard, staring up at her in shock. The referee announced, "Winner, Hana Kim of Earth." The crowd didn't cheer. They whispered. Hana Kim wiped the grease from her hands and stared at the holographic message floating above her workbench. The symbols translated themselves into Korean, then into Standard Galactic Common, then back again as if the system couldn't believe what it was sending. "Invitation to the Galactic Youth Combat Exhibition," she read aloud. Her voice echoed in the empty repair bay. Outside, the twin suns of New Busan were setting over the terraform fields. The colony world was quiet tonight. Most families were inside, having dinner, talking about crops and weather patterns. Normal things. Safe things. Hana read the message 3 more times. There had to be a mistake. The Galactic Youth Combat Exhibition was famous across 10,000 worlds. Young warriors from every species came to show their skills, to bring honor to their people. It was broadcast to trillions. And they wanted her? She was nobody, just a mechanic who fixed farming equipment. She was 19 years old and had never left New Busan. She was short, barely over 5 feet tall, and looked like a strong wind might knock her over. Her sister Jiwon always joked that Hana was built for squeezing into tight engine spaces, not for fighting. "This has to be wrong," Hana muttered, but the message had her name. Her identification codes, her genetic profile, everything matched. The door to the bay slid open. Jiwon walked in, still wearing her militia uniform. She was taller than Hana, stronger, with the build of someone who trained every day. She was everything a warrior should look like. "You got one too?" Jiwon asked. Hana blinked. "You got an invitation?" "Yeah, but I can't go. Active duty." Jiwon moved closer, reading the hologram over Hana's shoulder. "But you should go." "Me?" Jiwon, "look at me. I fix tractors. You also survived the dust storm of 45. You also climbed the North Ridge when you were 12. You also—" "Those were accidents and stupid kid decisions," Hana interrupted. Jiwon smiled. It was the smile she used when she was about to say something serious. "Hana, you're human. That means something out there. People forget, but we come from Earth. That matters." Hana wanted to argue, but she'd heard the stories. Everyone had. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world. Most aliens came from Class 3 or 4 worlds. Safe worlds. Calm worlds. Earth had gravity that crushed, an atmosphere that corroded, oceans full of monsters, and weather that killed. Humans were considered Deathworlders by the rest of the galaxy, but that was species classification. That wasn't her. She was just Hana. "What if I embarrass us?" she asked quietly. "You won't." Jiwon put a hand on her shoulder. "And even if you don't win, you'll see the galaxy. You've always wanted that, that was true." Hana had spent her whole life looking up at the stars, wondering what was out there. The colony network had databases with pictures and videos, but it wasn't the same as seeing it in person. "Okay," Hana said. "I'll go." 3 weeks later, Hana stood in the docking bay of Arena Station, surrounded by aliens. She had never seen so many different species in one place. Tall ones, short ones, ones with scales, ones with fur, ones that seemed to be made of crystal or light. They moved around her in a river of color and sound and strange smells. Arena Station was massive. The docking bay alone was larger than her entire colony settlement. Through the viewports, she could see ships from 100 different worlds. Some were elegant and curved. Others were brutal and angular. All of them made her colony's transport shuttle look like a toy. "Miss Kim," Hana turned. A human man in diplomatic robes approached. He was middle-aged, with gray at his temples and tired eyes. His nameplate identified him as Ambassador Deho Park. "Ambassador," Hana said, bowing slightly. Deho didn't smile. "I'm here to sponsor your participation as required by protocol. I need to be clear with you, Miss Kim. This exhibition is important for human diplomatic relations. The other species see it as entertainment, a cultural exchange. You understand?" "I think so. I need you to do your best, but more importantly, I need you to lose gracefully. Make it look good. Be respectful. Don't cause an incident." Deho's voice was firm. "Can you do that?" Hana felt something cold in her stomach. He wanted her to lose on purpose? To make it look like she tried, but to fail anyway? The other species expect humans to be interesting. Deho continued. "We're Deathworlders. It's exotic to them. But we're also trying to build peaceful relationships. We don't want to scare anyone. Do you understand?" "Yes, Ambassador." "Good, your match is scheduled for tomorrow, against a Sarkoth warrior named Krull. He's a professional, very skilled. It should be a good show." Deho handed her a data pad. "Your quarters are in Section 7. Try to rest." He walked away before Hana could respond. She stood alone in the crowded docking bay, holding the data pad, feeling very small and very far from home. Her quarters were tiny but clean. A bed, a bathroom, a viewport showing the stars. Hana sat on the bed and opened the data pad. It showed information about her opponent. Krull was 7 feet tall. He was covered in dark green scales. He came from Sarkoth Prime, a world famous for its warrior culture. He had competed in 12 previous exhibitions and won 8 of them. The pictures showed him in armor, holding weapons that looked designed to tear through metal. Hana looked at her own reflection in the dark viewport. She looked scared. Her communicator chimed. A message from Jiwon. "Hey, little sister. I know you're nervous. I know what the ambassador probably told you. But remember what Dad used to say. We're not just humans. We're Deathworlders. That's not about being scary. It's about surviving. Whatever happens tomorrow, you'll survive. Love you." Hana smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. She spent the rest of the evening watching footage of previous exhibition matches. They were beautiful in a way. The warriors moved with precision and honor. They fought with rules and respect. Each match was like a dance, choreographed and safe. There were medical teams standing by, safety protocols, instant stop technology that would end a match if anyone was in real danger. This wasn't war. It was sport. Hana could do sport. She could be respectful. She could lose gracefully, just like Ambassador Deho wanted. She went to sleep thinking about choreography and honor and making a good show. She didn't think about what would happen if her body remembered something her mind had forgotten. She didn't think about instincts buried in human DNA, carved there by millions of years of survival, on a world that treated everything like prey. She didn't think about what happened when a Deathworlder stopped performing and started hunting. Tomorrow would teach her. Tomorrow would teach everyone.